Amen. How is that? Can you hear me? So let's check the volume. Okay, there you go. All right. So today is vested in. So today on Think About It Tuesday, want to talk about a couple of things that was on everybody's mind. And yesterday was the inauguration of our 47th president, and it was also Dr. Martin Luther King's celebration. It was his holiday on tomorrow. And I know that a lot of people, let me move over something. A lot of people had mixed feelings. A lot of people um, wasn't excited about the inauguration. We have mixed feelings about certain things that already took place during the going out of the 46th president and coming in the 47th president of the United States. And so I want to start off in saying, listen, those of us that are in our right mind, those of us that understand that both sides have issues and both sides have a problem. So many people is upset because President Trump pardoned the people of January 6. And we have a lot of people, and I'm hearing remarks about the president parting those people from January 6th. And we hear a lot of people upset, are heated. But then you also have those on the right that is upset that Joe Biden, President Biden, pardoned so many people on his way out the door. Majority of his families, I believe Nancy Pelosi got a pardon in that. So many people on the left got pardoned on Joe Biden the way out, and those on the right got pardoned on President Trump's on the way in. And I want you guys to understand and realize that we got to stop allowing things to divide this country. We're not going to agree on everything, but what we can look at is how can we move forward? How can we make sure our children are safe? That our children are being educated, that our children is not being confused with their sexuality. That I am so glad that our president said that the United States will only recognize two genders, male and female. I am so glad that that took place. And so we have a lot of things that we need to do. We got a lot of work ahead of us. We have a lot of things that needs to be done. And my question is, are you willing to stop complaining and start working on a solution to what's going on um, in our city, in our state, and in our nation? Right? Yesterday was a celebration of or a national holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King, who I believe probably turning over in his grave because one of his biggest things was that he did not want us to be judged by the color of our skin, but the content of our character. And what we have done when we go to vote and everything, it's not about a person's character, but it's about the color of their skin. So everything that this man went through during his life, dogs being sent out on him to be assassinated, everything that this man died for, we have reversed it. And we're now only voting for people based on the color of their skin, but not their character. Even the Bible teaches us to know them, know that you will know them by the fruit they bear. And so we're not looking at character. We're not looking at integrity. We're not looking at honesty. We're not looking at good rapport. We're only looking at color of our skins. And we're still on this color thing to the fact that if we're talking about being equal, we're talking about having our rights met. We're talking about uh, things that's supposed to better our community, quote unquote, as the Black community. But I don't hear so-called Black leaders talking about the injustice with education, talking about the injustice of how Common Core destroyed the education system to the fact that majority of our children can't read or do math. I don't hear nobody talking about how, if you go look at the report cards of the assessment of our schools where our babies can't read, can't do math, we're not talking about we need to slow down on black crime. We're not talking about we need to stop aborting Black babies. We're not even talking about how we can come together to keep families together. But we are talking about things that they want you to talk about. And what I mean by that is we allow either side to give us an agenda to talk about. Right now, we're they gave us an agenda. We're talking about who's gotten pardoned, and both sides. The night that Biden was leaving, and the morning that Trump took office, partings was done on both sides, and they got you arguing about pardons instead of arguing about or coming together to see what can we do. Everyone I know wants their children to have a better education. I know this. Everyone wants to feel safe. I know this. Everyone wants the desire to go to work or go to their business and come home and find their house the same way they left it without anybody breaking in, robbing them, or even attacking them. Everybody want to be safe. Everybody want to prosper. Everybody want the best for their families, but we're not coming together to figure out a solution to the fact where uh, we don't even want to talk solution. We just want to talk hatred. We just want to talk being angry at one another. We just want to talk about a color, but we don't want to talk about what do we need to do to come together. Now, I remember the church during the time of Dr. King was the pillar of their community. The church is where they would come and discuss political things on how to make it better, a better life for everybody. But what we have done now as the church, we have became divided to the fact that you have some that are loyal to the Republican Party and you have some that are loyal to the Democratic Party. But how come they're not loyal to God, and God is love? God is not about division. God is not the author of confusion. God is not about hatred. God is not about discord. But we have allowed people to split us. And the Bible teaches us that a nation divided cannot stand. I look at everything that's going on, and I look at the schools, and I thank God that we have a man of God that's on our school board, and I'm praying that more would get on the school board so that we can focus on the best education for our children so that they can compete with anybody in the world. That's what we should be focused on. We should be focused on how to change the narrative of our cities by making sure that 462,990 people that voted for a president will vote in local government. Because in the local in our local races, we don't even bust 100,000 people. But in the president, we busted over 400,000. So can you imagine if we had the 400,000 people voting in our local races to change the narrative of our city, to bring our city out of debt, to help our city get to the place where we are healthy, we're growing, we're thriving, we're safe. People want to move here because of the safeness. We have great schools. We have great places for our elderly, not just for a tourist attraction, but that we will be able to do some things that'll be a blessing to everybody. I think we forgot about the things that means the most, and that's family values. That's being a community again. That means us coming together as a village and raising these young men and these young women. It's about validating our daughters so that our daughters will not just accept anything that a man would say to them, but they'll be willing and ready to hold their innocence until they get married. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can be doing. There's a lot of things that can be taking place on the local level that we will be able to make this nation great because it starts local. It doesn't start in the federal level. It doesn't start with who's in the White House. It starts with who's in City Hall. It starts with who's over the county. It starts with who's your alderman, who's your county supervisor. It starts with who's our school board. It starts with who's our treasurer. It starts with who is our sheriff, everything, who's our chief of police, everything starts local. And I think the problem that we have is we don't want to deal with local issues. We want to look at the federal side of things so we can blame somebody, but we do not want to deal with it locally. And so I want to challenge, instead of complaining, instead of hating, instead of talking against, let's come together and let's figure out what is it that we can do together to make Milwaukee a better place. We have so many talented people in the city of Milwaukee. We have so many youth full of potential in the city of Milwaukee. We have so many things that can be happening in the city of Milwaukee where all of us can be blessed. All of us can prosper if we will learn to come together. Now, how is that going to happen? Well, I wrote a book called Why It's Important to Stay in the Middle from a Kingdom Perspective. And in chapter 4, it says, we must do an exodus. We must do an exodus. And what do that mean? We must come out from both parties and come to the middle, because both parties' agenda is not a people agenda. So we got to come out from both parties. We have to be willing to sit down and focus on we the people. We have to realize that the solution we made will not trample anybody's rights. We have to make sure that our government is not in our house, that our government is not dictating how I raise my children. What do I teach my children? The values I give my children, the principles I give my children. The government does not own our children. And I think if we would come down and sit down, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, Libertarian, I guarantee you, if we sit down, we will realize and understand that we all want the same thing. I guarantee you, if we move the agenda of both parties and talk to each other. How do I know? Because I'm a business coach. And I'm a business coach for people that's Democrats. I'm a business coach to people that are Republicans. And they want the same thing. They both want their business to grow. They both want to have a thriving business. They both want to leave their businesses to their children. They both want to leave an inheritance for their children. They both want to have the good life. They both want it. And so, because they both want it, guess what? We're not talking about anything else but how to make that happen, how to make your business grow, how to make your business grow, how to get you to understand that what you want for your child is the same thing I want for mine. How do we get them to understand if we never have a conversation, if we never have a cup of coffee and talk about it, if we never take time to say, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you want? What is it that where you're trying to go? Because we can help one another get there. It is not about color. And it is not about income. It's about you being a person with morals. We already got politics without principles. We have to come back together. So on this Think About It Tuesday, my question to you is, what can you do to help make our local government better? What can you do to make our city better? What can you do to secure the future of our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren? What is it that you can do besides complain? What is it that you can do instead of listening to the narrative of certain news networks because they're being paid from one side or the other? But what can you do? What can you lay aside to say, hey, I want to meet with you. I want to have a conversation with you because I understand that you want your children to have a great education. And guess what? I want my children to have a great education. I know you want to have a city that is a blessing. I want the same thing for me. So what is it that we can sit down? What is it that we can come together and do? And I challenge you guys. I really challenge you to want to do that. I really challenge you to swallow that pride. I really challenge you to become critical thinkers and don't think about it because of you being a Democrat or because you being a Republican. But I want you to think of it by you being a human being. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you both bleed red. You both have the same blood type. So if you needed blood, you're not going to tell anybody, don't give me no Republican blood. Or if you're a Democrat, you're not going to say, if you're a Republican, you're not going to say, don't give me no Democrat blood. You're not going to say, don't give me no white people blood. And you're not going to say, don't give me no black people blood. If the blood type matches, you're going to say, give me the blood so I can live. And this is what it's about. I challenge you. I challenge the church to become the pillar of our community again. I challenge the church to be there for the families in your community, for the fatherless. I challenge the church to get rid of their agenda and get God's agenda. I challenge the church to be the place in the community that if anybody need help, that's where they can go. I challenge the church to love the people that walk through your doors instead of judging them. I challenge the church to go back to God's agenda and not your agenda. Not a Baptist agenda, not a Koji agenda, not a Catholic agenda, not a Lutheran or Presbyterian, a Seventh-day Adventist, a Methodist. I challenge you, a Church of God. I challenge you, Assembly of God. I challenge you to go back to God's agenda. I challenge you to go back to the agenda where love is first. I challenge you to go back to an agenda where we colonize earth with heaven and that the love of God can spill all over our city and in our neighborhood. I challenge the church to be there to counsel married couples that's going through. I challenge the church to make preparation to teach women how to be wives and husbands and men how to be husbands so the family can grow stronger together. I challenge the church to do what God has called us to do. I challenge us to go back to our first love. I challenge the church to stand up for what's right. I challenge the church to do that. I challenge the church and I thank you, Melissa. You are absolutely right. I challenge the church because it's going to take the church to do it. So I challenge the church to rise up, to lead by an example, to get people to understand and realize that if the church don't do it, then it's not going to get done. It's really not going to get done. We say we belong to God, but we're not moving under God's agenda. We're moving on our own agenda. We say we belong to God, but then when we open up our mouth, it don't sound like God. I challenge the church to rise up. I challenge the church to rise up. I challenge the church to lead by an example. If we, the church, can come to the middle, the common ground is Jesus is Lord. If we, the church, can come to the middle, if we, the church, would be open, an open church, open to the things of God, to learn things that tradition did not teach us, then we will have a great city. In Milwaukee, I challenge us to be the first city to do it. That we're not looking for nothing for ourselves, but our meat becomes to do the will of the Father. That we do exactly what God is calling us to do. I challenge us, the church, to come to the middle. If we can come to the middle, the Bible says one can put 1,000 away, two can put 10,000. Just imagine if we had 10 churches to come to the middle, to lay aside their agenda and pick up God's agenda. What would it look like? I challenge the church, because in God, there's no big I's and no little U's. We have to fix this if we ever want it better in our cities. We have to colonize the city of Milwaukee, because the devil already colonized it. We got to go back and take that territory. You probably saying, where did the devil colonize? Every area that's desolate, every area that they are killing, stealing, and destroying, the enemy has colonized. And our job is to go and bring life, that these people can have life and have it more abundantly. That's our assignment. And we got to ask ourselves, are we really on the assignment that God has given us? Are we really doing the things that God requires from us? Are we really saying the things that God wanted us to say? Are we really true representation of our King, King Jesus? It doesn't matter who's in the White House. What matters is who you're loyal to. So we need to lay some stuff aside. And we need to stop. I repeat, we need to stop this mess defending one side or the other if they both are wrong. We need to stop being loyal to a political party or even loyal to a color and not loyal to God, because with God, there is no color. We're all one. There is one race and one race only, and that is the human race. That is the only race, the human race. And we have to understand and realize that. We have to understand and realize there's one race, human race. Racism is taught. Hatred is taught. So is love. Let's start teaching. A person is racist because they taught to hate whites, or whites to hate blacks, or hate Asians, or hate Latinos, or hate Germans, or hate Italy, or hate the Jewish. It's taught. Nobody is born with hatred. It is taught. It is a taught behavior. But God is love. And if you are made in the image and the likeness of God, the word image means nature. Likeness means behavior. So if you're telling me you belong to God, God does not promote hatred. God does not promote color. God does not promote anything that is going to divide, unless God is separating those of us that want to practice sin and want to live with a sinful nature. But other than that, God is love. We have to demonstrate love. And we cannot be loyal to parties that are promoting hatred instead of unity. We have to come together. That's the only way we're going to fix Milwaukee. That's the only way we're going to fix Wisconsin. That's the only way we're going to fix our country. Charity starts at home. We have to start here. We have to start in Milwaukee. We have to hold people accountable that we, the people, put in office, but are not pushing our agenda, a people agenda. They're pushing somebody that paid them agenda. And it's up to us, all of us, to come together and make it happen. I believe we can do it. I believe that we have enough bold people to don't mind losing a friend to do what's right. I think we got enough pastors in this city that really have a heart for this city, that really love God's people, that is willing to move pride out the way and have a conversation on what we can do together. What can we do together to make our city better? I believe within my heart that we have enough pastors in this city. I believe God has a remnant in this city of leaders that can come together with their kingdom agenda, not our agenda, but the king's agenda, and to colonize earth with heaven. I believe that with all my heart. There is people that might not be in leadership that wants to do it. You don't have to be in leadership to get this work done. We can all come together and get it done. You don't have to be in leadership. You just have to be willing. And if you don't know how, we can teach you how to do it. You just got to be faithful, available, and teachable. And we can teach you. Because if we ever want a better Milwaukee, we got to come together now. If we ever want our business to thrive, we got to come together now. If we ever want the enemy's stronghold to be broken in our city, then as leaders, we need to come together now. I think the biggest problem we have is that we're fighting a spiritual battle with carnal weapons. We have to come together with God's agenda to be willing to do it God's way. And I challenge you guys. I challenge you. It's not about money. It's about the assignment that God has for us. God will provide only for what he wants us to do. It's not about money. It's about bringing heaven to earth. It's too many people say they're living in hell right now, and that is because we, the church, are not doing what we're supposed to do. Our job is to colonize earth with heaven, that they can feel love, that they're not being judged, that the help they need, they can get. So I challenge all of us, each and every one of us, stop with the division, stop with the finger pointing, stop with the hatred. Both pardoned people on yesterday. Well, night before last and yesterday. On both sides, there was pardons. And because there was pardon on both sides, you shouldn't get upset with one side or the other. What you should say is, I might not agree, but I'm willing to work to make whatever, to do whatever it takes to make my city better. Listen to me, 462,990 people voted for a president, and only 71 voted for a mayor. 71,000 voted for a mayor. That means we have over 300,000 people that are not engaged in our local government. We have over 300,000 people that is not informed that the most powerful election is your local elections. We have over 300,000 people that are not informed, knowing that if you want your garbage removed, if you want your street lights on, if you want to feel safer, it starts at the local level. That's how bad it is right now. No matter who's the president, no matter what they try to do you guys not know that the state of Wisconsin can pull out the 10th Amendment and do not have to go along with what the federal level is doing? So, if that's the case, then should we not focus on local elections to make sure that we, the people, are getting the things that we need, that we remove government out of our families. And I know I'm not the only one. I know that I'm not the only one that want government out of our families. I know I'm not the only one that don't want to send my kids to Caesar in school and they come home a Roman. I know I'm not the only one that the government is now dictating on your marriage, on your children, on your property. I know I'm not the only one. I know there are more people out of that 300 and some thousand that didn't vote for the local races. No, they want better. But we can't do better if we don't know better. We can't do anything better if we don't know better. And they keep the local races from you. This is why local races are not in the fall. It's in the spring because they know you're not going to pay attention. They know if we can keep you ignorant. James Madison said it this way, that knowledge will always govern ignorant. Now, ignorant means that you just don't have the information. It's not saying you're stupid. It's not saying you're dumb. It's just saying you don't have the information. So they will hide the information. Information is knowledge. So in order for you to have the knowledge, you got to have the information. And now once you get the information, then you can have understanding, because understanding means I comprehend the information that you've given me. And then here come the application, which is wisdom. Now we apply that. Now, instead of 71,000 voting for a mayor, we have over 200 to 300,000 voting for a mayor. That now we don't have just 71,000 voting for a county executive, but we have over 300,000 voted. Why? Because now that I have the information, guess what? Now I'm going to put application to what I know. And this is something that all of us should think about. This is something that all of us should realize. This is something that we all need to know and to understand, that if I don't do what I need to do, if I don't know anything, then I can't do nothing, because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. We're complaining about our property taxes now. Why? Because we did not vote right, so that our taxes wouldn't have went up. If we would have voted right, our taxes wouldn't have went up. If we would have voted right, the mayor wouldn't have got a raise, and the city is in debt. If we would have voted right, the school board wouldn't have got $252 million. Your property taxes went up, or your rent went up because your landlord is making you pay his property taxes. If we would have voted right, sale taxes wouldn't have went up. If we would have voted right, but we didn't, and now we're suffering. But we can come back together. There's a lot we can do. A lot we can do. A lot we can say. But we need men and women that are bold. Men and women that are willing to do an exodus, to come out from among those that does not have our best interests at heart. To come out from that mess, to deceive us. We still talking about the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But most of you didn't even know that there was a Civil Rights Act passed in 1875. And then they had it removed in 1883. See, there was a Civil Rights Act that was passed already. And if you go look it up, Google it, please Google it, and look up that Civil Rights Act versus the Civil Rights Act that they passed in 1964. Look at the difference of both civil rights acts. Look at the difference. Look it up. Look it up. Because I really believe that if you had the information, you would think different. We never stopped to wonder why they took cursive writing out of the schools. If our children cannot read cursive, write cursive, they can't read it. And if they can't read it, they can't read the founding documents. So now I get to alter the documents. Now I get to change some stuff in the document. Next month is Black History Month. Are our children going to learn about the 7 blacks that was the first U.S. Congress and U.S. senators in the 1800s? One of them being Robert Brown Elliott. Are they going to learn about them during this Black History Month? Are they going to learn about Henry Highland Garnett, who was the first black pastor to preach a sermon at the state capitol, and 2,000 people was at that service? Are they going to learn that in Philadelphia, black men was pastors over white congregations in the 1800s? Are they going to learn about the 2 men? And I'm going to give y'all some homework. 2 men that helped one white man deal with the yellow fever pandemic in Philadelphia. Are they going to learn about Winthrop Cheswell during Black history? Are y'all going to teach them that Lone Ranger was a black man? Are they going to learn on any of those things? Because if you still are teaching them Black history with a chain around their neck, are you going to teach them the truth about Black Wall Street? Are you going to teach them that most that came out of slavery prospered? Are you going to teach that? Are you going to teach them that in the 1800s, they great-great-grandfathers there were all Republicans in the South? Are you going to teach them about Anthony Johnson, who was the first black slave owner? Are we going to teach real, whether we like it or not? Are we going to teach them that when Paul Revere rode one way saying the British is coming, a black man rode the other way saying the British is coming? Are we going to teach truth? That is what we got to ask ourselves. Are we going to teach truth? Are we going to let the children know truth? Or are we just going to keep that slave mentality on them? Are we going to teach our black children about a man by the name of Robert Brown, who was part of the Nixon cabinet the first term, and because of him, when Biloxi, Mississippi wouldn't serve black soldiers, he went down and saw what was going on, went back to President Nixon, and President Nixon ordered no soldiers to go in Biloxi if they're not going to serve the black soldiers, and all of a sudden they started serving black soldiers. Are you going to teach them about how Robert Brown helped the first black to become higher rank in the military? See, those things we're not teaching. See, they'll try to tell you that if you're black and you're not on their side, that you're Uncle Tom. The next time somebody call you an Uncle Tom, say, "Thank you, idiot, read a book." Uncle Tom's name was Josiah Hanson. Josiah Hanson freed more slaves than Harriet Tubman. Josiah Hansen went to Canada and opened up a school for slaves. He did a lot of great things. So don't get offended if they call you Uncle Tom, because they don't even know who Uncle Tom really was. So, and they only call you Uncle Tom because you're thinking for yourself. Most of our children don't even know who Frederick Douglass is and what he's done. Most of our children don't know anything about the great men and women besides the one they want to throw in, keep in your face. Because if you start to look, you'll realize that during the Revolution War, blacks did great things in the Revolution War. And if you look at the Civil War, blacks did a lot of great things in the Civil War. But they don't want you to know that. So I challenge you guys, all of you, let's put away this stupid stuff. It is nothing we can do about either president giving out pardons. There's nothing nobody can do. You can just cry about it, talk about it, but there's nothing no one can do. But what we can do is start to rebuild. Rebuild our communities, take control of our cities, our counties, and our state. There's a lot we can do. Help our young people dream again. Help our young people to do the things that they need to do to become successful. We even had people hating on Mississippi Valley University that went and they marched in the inauguration parade. People had a problem with that black college going up and performing and marching in the inauguration parade, instead of saying, wow, he brought a black college to be a part of the parade. Instead, how dare you let those kids go up there? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? We don't like anything. Misery love company. And if you complain because Mississippi Valley College went up and performed at the in the parade, then something is really wrong with you. And I want you to understand something. They performed. I love the way they performed. They represented their school. They represented that university. They performed. And I was so glad that they performed. But we got a problem if they perform. We got a problem. And here's the sad part about it. If it wasn't because who was the president at the time, y'all wouldn't have had a problem if they would have performed for Biden. Y'all wouldn't have had a problem if Kamala would have won and they performed for Kamala Harris. Y'all wouldn't have a problem if they performed for Joe Biden, who said if you are black and you're not supporting him, then you're actually not black. But y'all wouldn't have a problem them supporting and doing that. Y'all didn't have a problem when he called himself sitting at the kitchen table with a black family eating fried chicken. Like, that's our main course, fried chicken. Why didn't we have a problem with that? Y'all didn't have a problem. See, this is what I'm talking about, people that are miserable. and who's stuck on one side. Your side can never do nothing wrong. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, your side can't never do nothing wrong. Why not stand for the truth? Why not stand in the middle and call a spade a spade? Why not stand in the middle and share the things that are true to you, especially if you're standing for God? Why is it? Why is it that it's okay if it was one side and not the other side? Our children got a great opportunity. Them young people, them young men and them young women had a great opportunity to be a part of history. And y'all had a problem with that? Now, if he did not call Black college to perform, then y'all would have said, oh, he racist. He ain't had no blacks do anything. We need to tell people to shut up and grow up. That's what we need to do. On this Think About It Tuesday, if you're not going to be a part of the solution to bring us together, to unify, to show love, then shut up. If you're not going to be a part to bring our local government in order where we, the people, are being taken care of, that our children can be safe, that our grandchildren can walk to the park, then shut up. Nobody want to hear you rant. Nobody want to hear you complain. Nobody want to hear you cry all the time. Just shut up. Now, if you want to be a part of the change, come see me. Come see me. I challenge you. Come see me. Let's talk. Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's see what we can do together. We ain't going to agree on everything, so let's find what we agree on. The Bible says, how can two walk except they have a meeting and they agree? So let's have a meeting to find out what it is that we don't agree, that we have in common. If it's our children, let's move forward. It's safety, let's move forward. If it's business, let's move forward. Whatever it might be, let's move forward. Let's come together. Let's learn one another. Let's come with solutions. I'm sick of the crybabies. I'm sick of people whining and complaining from both sides. I'm sick of it. So as I close, Think About It Tuesday, I want to say it to you this way. I want you to know and understand that if you're going to be one of the ones complaining in 2025, shut up. But if you're going to be one that's coming to bring solution, welcome to the team. This is Dr. David D. King, and Think About It Tuesday. God bless.